Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take you guys through the CNC machine, specifically our Craft CNC machine and how to use it. I'm going to be showing you guys how to connect the machine to your computer, a nice software for you guys to use, how to change your bits of your CNC machine, how to clamp down the material that you want to CNC on, and everything from your test carvings all the way out to your finished products like this over here. Without further ado, let's dive down into this video over here about how to use a CNC machine. First things first, the outside of the machine and what is what. So first of all, we have our emergency stop switch over here. We have our spindle speed control over here where you can make the spindle slower or faster. And here is where we connect the machine. So with your machine, you will get a cable like this. The USB port obviously plugs into your computer, and this guy will go over there. This will be the communication between your computer and your CNC machine. Your computer will not see your CNC machine unless your emergency end stop switch is on. Then on the base of your machine over here where your workspace is how we're going to clamp down your material. So as you can see, we have our axes, and keep in mind your spindle or your engraving area is not from the edge to the edge. If you see here, it does have a limitation of how far it can go on the left, right, forward, and back. It does not reach the exact end over here. So you do have multiple ways that you can mount down your material, clamp down your material. However, the most basic one and the most obvious one is using these holes with the clamps provided in the CNC machine. Very simple to use. All you do is that you take your screws and you put them through your clamps. You place down your material wherever you need them to be. So let's go over here. The part that is the lowest of the clamp over here is always going to touch the bed, and the higher part is always going to touch the material. So over here like this, we're going to thread our bolts into the threads that are inside each of these holes over here, and that is not going anywhere. Rotate your clamp and clamp down. However, one key thing to keep in mind is do not let your clamps exceed an unnecessary amount of your material, because then you're removing space for you to engrave, as well as that your bit might collide into your clamp, and that is not something that we would like. So always make sure that you have the least amount of material clamped down and make it nice and tight. The more clamps, the better. However, 2 is going to be just fine. Let's put this one down over here as well. And we just thread that into the bottom thread, just like that. Bring our clamp and tighten that down. Now the material is secure, and that is not going anywhere. Another thing to keep in mind is your origin point. Being at the top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right, do not have your clamp on that corner. It does make sense to have your clamps on the corner, that it takes up the least space possible. However, if your origin point is going to be the bottom left, you need to move this spindle all the way to that corner and lower that bit to touch the material to zero in your position. You cannot do that accurately if you have your clamp in the way. Now that we know these basic functions of a CNC machine, let's dive into the software and see how we can operate it. Welcome to Easel. Now there are other softwares that you can use for your CNC machine, but we recommend Easel because it's very good for beginners. On our left-hand side of the screen, we have our workspace, and on the right-hand side of the screen, we have our visual representation of what our job is going to look like. If you have a look on the left-hand side over here, here is where you'll find your tools for your jobs, and you can change between inches and millimeters down here. If we have a look on the right-hand side where we have our visual material, if we look at the top, we have 3 main blocks. The one on the left will define what material you want to use. So as you can see over here, you do have quite a variety to choose from. You can also dictate its size in width, length, and thickness over here. If you guys want to enable tiling, you can do that over here. The middle block is also very important. This is our cutting bit that we're using. You guys do have quite an array of bits to choose from. We are using a 2mm fishtail bit. If you press the plus over here, you can add multiple bits if the job requires you to do so. And our cut settings over here is our most vital settings. You can go with automatic settings or you can go with manual. Now manual is where you will manually input your settings. Very, very simple. You have feed rate, plunge rate, depth per pass, and spindle speed. Now our spindle speed we don't have to worry too much on because our Crafts do have a dial on the front of the machine to change that as well. What these settings are at a very basic level is our feed rates is how fast is the spindle going to be engraving our job. Our plunge rate is how fast is the spindle going to push the bit into the material, and our depth per pass is how deep are we going to engrave per pass. So if we just want to do a block and it is 8 mils deep and we choose 4 millimeters per pass, we're going to take 2 passes to engrave that 8 mil deep block. However, the thicker you go in this depth per pass, the higher chance you have of breaking your bit and you have a higher chance of damaging your machine. So we recommend going at a nice shallow depth per pass and rather have the job take a little bit longer, but you know that it's going to work. You can adjust the thickness of your cuts by just pressing cut, and you can adjust it like this. To determine the parameters of your material, you can select over here from a variety of materials, and you can also justify its size. So I'm going to make this just 2 mils thick, and it shows us a nice example over here what it will look like. So now I'll press carve. We have measured the thickness of our material. It is 16 mils. Confirm thickness. Material is secure. We have a 2 mil bit. We're going to manually adjust the height. Turn on the spindle. Spindle is on. And carve. Now that we have engraved a basic rectangle into our job, let's go into something a bit more technical. We're going to put in a text over here, and you do have paid for versions and free versions, so let's just try a nice thick font over here. Banger seems quite nice. And we will put in subscribe. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you guys want to see more instructional videos like this. Our position is at our bottom left over here, and we're happy with that. We have our width and we have our height, as we can see over there. These are our exact numbers. And the alignment we're not too bothered by right now. I can click and drag this material wherever I want, and I think I'm going to put it right over there. I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do is define how deep I want to engrave this, so I will go to cut. Now 6 mils is really, really nice. However, for this video I am going to go quite a lot more shallow. So I'm going to look at about 1.5 millimeters deep, and we can see over here this is what it would look like. Alright, so now we can say carve, and it'll go through our checklist for us. So our material thickness is 16 mils. Yes, we do have our material clamped down. Please always make sure of that. Material is secure. We have a 2 mil cutting bit. We are not going to be using the probe because we've already leveled manually. I want to use the last position of the last engraving. Turn on the spindle. The spindle is on, and carve. Alright, now here we are with our final carving for us to make something that looks really, really nice for someone. So I'm going to be making a gift for my friend. This is just a piece of normal wood that I've spray painted black, just so that I can have a nice contrast when we carve it. So we are going to place it into our workspace, and now here's where we have to clamp down the material, and how we do that once again is we bring one side to a corner, make sure that we are clamping as little material as possible while doing this. I also want to make it that I have a little bit on the side of the clamp that I can home the machine correctly, and I'll clamp down on that over there. And then this one over here, we can just screw out of the hole slot that it's in. And we're going to find a space for it now. I do not think that it will reach the back. Not super great, so we're going to do the front as well with this. So then there we thread it onto the bed or the workspace. Now we can position it nicely and clamp that down. Make sure that every time you do clamp down your material, you make sure it's nice and tight and give that material a little bit of a feel, and that is not going anywhere. So here we are, and I want to dictate the size of my material first. So our width is 255 millimeters. And our height is 160 millimeters. That is fine over there. And yes, again, it is still 16 mil thick. And as you can see, our material has changed. So now I just want to orientate this to fit how I need it to be. And I think that's gonna look quite nice over there. So here is where I want this image to be, and here's where we can see how it will look. And I'm going to later on add some engraving over here. But for right now, we are going to engrave or carve this shape into the machine. So we're gonna say carve, and now I need to home the machine to the correct location. Okay, now I just need to move the X, Y, and Z axes to the homing position that I want, which is the bottom left. And let's bring it this way. Okay, and then we bring it down. Okay. There we go. We are going to confirm the material thickness is 16 mils. Material is secure. Confirm the bit. Manual, and now we're going to say use new position. I'm going to raise the bit. Turn on the spindle. Spindle is on, and carve. This is going to be a double-sided engraving, so while this is going on, I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing on the other side. I'm going to import the other image that I want to do, and this is going to be the Death Star over here. Now this is a little bit big, so we're going to make it a lot smaller and make it fit into the material that we have. A little bit bigger. That seems quite nice. I'm going to go to our cuts, and as you can see, it makes it the full depth, and here are different types of cuts that you can do, and it starts off all the way through. Let's make that more shallow. Change that up. How does it look? That gives us the other side. I like this a lot more. I like that detail over here. Here we can once again select our depths. We are going to make it a little bit more shallow because we have that black paint on. It's going to look really, really good. Anyway, let's see how this comes out. Right, now I want to add the writing, and for that I want to change the bit that I have. So I'm going to take my 13 spanner, and there is our bit accessible, and I'll put my 0.8 fishtail bit inside. Close it in nice and tight, just like that. And if we have a look at our screen, I have some writing that I've inserted over here, but now I need to change the bit that I have on the software. So if I go to bits, and I'll just say other under end mills, and I have a 0.8 millimeter fishtail bit. And that is a preview of what it will look like. I'm pretty happy with that, so let's quickly carve that in. And that's how you use a CNC machine. It is very basic. Yes, it is very daunting. However, I hope that this video helped you guys out. And I hope that you guys can see that nice contrast between the black on that wood versus a normal carving, just to give it some contrast to paint over your surface, especially when you have a layer of paint on there and you can carve it out and you have a very obvious positive and negative. It gives a very pleasing aesthetic look to your carvings, and it just takes it one step higher. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment down below what you want to see next, and if you aren't, please consider subscribing. It does go a long way with us, and we really do appreciate it over here. I'll see you guys in the next one.